Welcome to the Digital Galleries exhibit on panoramic maps and panoramic Minnesota. Panoramic maps were very popular in the United States from the mid-1860s all the way through the 1910s and 1920s. You can see San Francisco in 1875 on the lower left and in 1915 in the lower right. But panoramic maps have a history that goes back to the 1500s. You can see Jerusalem from 1875 by Franz Hogenberg, and then on the right, Jerusalem from 1570 by Camocchio. So what is a panoramic map? Well, they're also known as bird's eye views, perspective maps, arrow views. They're non-photographic representations of cities portrayed as if viewed from above and at an oblique angle, not generally drawn to scale, showing street patterns, individual buildings, and major landscape features in perspective. These maps were symbols of civic pride for every city in the United States that was significant, and also for cities that wanted to be significant. And you can see here tiny New Ulm, which in 1870 had its own panoramic map, while Minneapolis had one. And you can see how burgeoning of a city it was. Long before Rand McNally, panoramic maps were how cities promoted themselves, and often the only maps that existed of cities. The Library of Congress has an amazing collection of panoramic maps, over 1,500 in total. The Digital Gallery has collected and organized one exhibit for each US state, and so there's anywhere from 5 to 50 maps in each exhibit on the Digital Gallery for every state. The Minnesota exhibit has been curated by my niece, Lexi Potter, who grew up in Minnesota. I also grew up in Minnesota, with dots to help engage and guide a viewer through each image. And you can see here the 5 dots that she's put onto this image. And dot number 3, let's focus on that for a second, because to see the dots, you click on the button on the left and then click on the dot you want to explore. So this is the button right here that turns on all the dots, and then you can see this particular dot by clicking on it, and then you'll get information about that point on the map. To find the panoramic exhibit for your state, you first need to register for the Digital Gallery. That's this button here, and then search panoramic and the name of your state. At this point, only the Minnesota exhibit has dots on it, but you can still enjoy the maps from all the rest of the states. We are interested, and you can see here, this is panoramic California, and over here we've got panoramic New York. We are interested in finding historically minded individuals who would be interested in helping us curate, meaning to add dots to the exhibits for other states besides Minnesota. So you can see these are all the images in the exhibit. You can see these, probably worth looking at. The maps of San Francisco are zoomable and a lot of fun to look at. And also the Jerusalem maps I'm going to add that show you where all the dots are. And you can look at the dots. And then we're going to go one more Jerusalem. This is kind of interesting. And then lastly, one of my favorite maps is of St. Paul, where I grew up. Here it is. There's one dot about the state capitol building, but another one of my favorite parts, I should put a dot on there for this. There's Summit Avenue, and that's where I grew up. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you for visiting the Digital Gallery.